Welcome back. Still taking your phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Borders and Borders hotline. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. Got a couple tweets I want to read off. El Dingo Goat says the Pirates move just shows that they don't look to compete in 2021. Neither pitcher will make an impact in 2021. It will further alienate an already demoralized fan base. Josh Bell was one of the few household names left on the roster. Well, yeah. Can't argue with any of it. It's all true. Every last word of it's true. I expect the exact same thing. And I will say this much. If you were expecting things to turn around in 2021 or 2022 or 2023, I must ask you a very important question. Are you new here? Because this wasn't going to happen right away. I can't stress that enough. Joe's got a great question. I think Pittsburgh would be a great place to have an NBA team. This is an event town. Why not make it happen? Joe, I probably get this question on average of once a week, and my answer is always the same. This should have been a basketball market. I think there were attempts here that were tried in earnest before, but I have to remind people, the two previous attempts were not made by the NBA. Had those attempts been made by the NBA, maybe things turn out differently. Maybe with a more stable league, maybe things turn out better. Maybe with better financial backing, things turn out better. I will say this much. I think this market should have been a prime basketball market. There are decades of basketball history in this city. High school, college, professional players and coaches that have come from this area. There's so much basketball wrapped in this city's history, almost figuratively in its DNA. And the fact that we're at this point, that it didn't happen the way it should, I think is a gross injustice to the basketball fans who live in this city. And you know who you are because I hear from you often, and you guys know exactly how I feel. We got Ken and Butler on the line. I think Ken's got a wrestling question. Ken, throw it at me. Let's go.
Josh.
Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Ken.
Okay, I got a question for you. That Sunday pay-per-view with Randy Orton and Fiend, they got set on fire. Was that the Fiend? Is that a stunt double there, or how did that go? Yeah,
it was. I guess it was like a dummy or a prosthesis. It wasn't exactly Bray Wyatt. It was a stunt. They set a dummy on fire. That is one of the most shocking things I've ever seen in a wrestling pay-per-view. I can't believe I'm talking wrestling on this show. This is awesome. But that was one of the more shocking things I've seen as far as how that went. And for a character that's already off the reservation like Bray Wyatt, what they're going to do to bring him back, I have no idea. I shudder to imagine what they're going to pull off, and we'll leave it at that. Got a couple more phone calls we want to get to. Let's start with Joe in Latrobe. Joe, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hi. Merry Christmas, Josh.
Merry Christmas, Joe.
It breaks my heart the Pirates traded Josh Bell. This man was going to lead the Pirates to a World Series, I thought. And I also think, what's the status of Gerald Hawkins on the Steelers' role going forward? Thanks. I'll hang up. Bye.
Thanks for that call, Joe. I will agree to this point. Josh Bell was becoming a leader with that Pirates franchise. That I will agree with. Would he have led them to a World Series? Not with the pitching they had. The pitching needed to get better. But was Josh Bell a leader? Yes, he absolutely was. And I think it's a very, very disappointing thing when you have guys that people have gotten behind, people have started to identify with. I thought you mentioned this in a good way. I think someone else mentioned too, he was one of the faces of the franchise, and I think that was fair. You had kids walking around with his jersey on. I have a nephew. I believe he's 12 years old. My nephew, Aiden, who's probably not watching the show tonight because he's out of town. But I know my nephew, Aiden, was a Josh Bell fan. You know who he was a fan of before that? He loved Starling Marte, and he loved Andrew McCutchen. So I get it from that perspective. You have guys that were, I won't call them iconic, but they had a status that made them both recognizable and respectable and admirable. And when the franchise moves on with those guys, it leaves some really, really raw open wounds. We got Rich in Altoona. Rich, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Josh, Merry Christmas, and
Merry Christmas,
I have
Rich.
a statement, and I'll get it in quick.
Okay.
The cry was out, get rid of Huntington, get rid of Clint Hurdle, new guys come in, the narrative doesn't change. This is nothing more than a AAA franchise playing in the major leagues I'm sick and tired of hearing the word rebuild, and nothing ever gets built. This is never going to change. This is sickening. Please, Bob Nutting, sell the team to somebody that cares about baseball. That's all I have to say, Josh. Merry Christmas. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Rich. That's a Christmas wish you're probably not going to get anytime soon. I'm sorry. It's probably not going to happen. And it feels terrible having said it because I feel like the negative guy in the room. It's just not going to change anytime soon. The only thing I can say is I expect Ben Cherington to bring better talent in than Neil Huntington did and probably develop it better than Neil Huntington did because Ben Cherington at least has a track record of doing it in 2 different organizations. That's not something Neil Huntington had. So I'm only giving the benefit of the doubt, at least for the first couple of years or so. In the meantime, that is it for us. Thanks for you guys for your calls. Thanks for your tweets. Thanks for watching. As I say often, it's you guys that make this show great. On behalf of our producer, Dylan Clellan, our crew here at Pittsburgh CW, I'm Josh Taylor saying thanks again for watching. Have a good night. If you don't make the switch over to KDKA, then good night to you. If you do, make the switch over. We're talking Steelers. We're talking Pirates, that Josh Bell trade, and we're talking some college football. There's a bowl game tonight. We got highlights of that too. We'll talk about that. In the meantime, we are here for you 7 nights a week on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. And by the way, I'm going to be here with you on Christmas Day, and I'll be here with you Saturday night. So settle in, see you tomorrow, and see you Saturday. In the meantime, take care.